Right now, open your bank app. Look at the number. It probably hasn't moved much since last month. And your brain quietly decides that this is just how money works, slow, flat, one paycheck at a time. But that assumption is wrong. The real answer is far stranger than a straight line. Somewhere inside that same number, if you leave it alone long enough, there is a curve waiting to bend upward so sharply it will eventually outrun your imagination. Your brain simply cannot see it coming. Why not? Because your brain was never built to understand this kind of growth. Evolution built you a mind that is extraordinary at short-term pattern recognition and almost blind to patterns that unfold over decades. You can predict where a thrown spear will land in half a second. You cannot intuitively predict what $1 becomes in 30 years. Nobody can, not without the math written down in front of them. Researchers Craig McKenzie and Michael Learsh tested this directly. In a study through the University of California, San Diego, they asked people, including financially literate adults, to estimate how a retirement account would grow with steady contributions and compounding interest. Almost everyone underestimated it, and not by a little. The researchers called this the exponential growth bias. It isn't a flaw unique to the people they tested. It is wiring built into every human brain, including yours, into the future people imagined. The very years that matter most for compounding are the years your intuition trusts the least. And that blindness has a real cost. People who underestimate compound growth are less likely to start saving early, because a future that looks flat in your imagination does not feel urgent. Here is where the story gets old. Really old. Long before banks, before the word interest existed in any language, there is a legend from the origins of chess. A ruler, delighted by the new game, asked its inventor to name any reward. The inventor asked for something that sounds almost insultingly small. 1 grain of rice on the first square of the chessboard. 2 on the second. 4 on the third. Simply double it, all the way to the 64th. The ruler laughs. It sounds like nothing. He agrees at once. For the first 10 squares, almost nothing happens. But doubling is patient, and it does not care how small it looks at the start. By the 20th square, there are over 1 million grains. By the 40th, past 1 trillion. By the 64th, the total is larger than every grain of rice ever harvested in human history. The kingdom cannot pay it. All from a number that started at 1. That story is not really about rice. It is about the wall your brain hits every time it tries to picture something doubling again and again. Now fast forward to 1790, to a real man, in a real will. Benjamin Franklin left a comparatively small sum, about £1,000 each, to the cities of Boston and Philadelphia. But there was a condition. The money had to sit, collecting interest, for 100 years. Then a portion could be withdrawn. Then it would sit again, compounding further, for another 100 years. Franklin understood something most people still don't feel in their gut. Time does more work than money does. By the time both waiting periods ended, that small original gift had grown into a fund worth millions, funding scholarships and civic projects in both cities. Franklin never saw a cent of it. He was proving a point about patience, written into his own last wishes. Here is the twist your brain still resists, even now. The most important years of compound growth are not the exciting ones near the end. They are the boring ones at the beginning, the years where the number barely seems to move. People assume real growth happens later, so they wait to start. But the chessboard does not reward the 55th square more than the first. It rewards every square equally. It just doesn't look that way, because early doubling is invisible, and late doubling is enormous. What did those quiet, boring first years of your own savings actually cost you? Someone who invests modestly starting in their 20s, then stops, will typically end up with more money decades later than someone who invests twice as much per month but starts 10 years late. Not because the early investor tried harder. Because time itself was compounding in the background the whole time. This is not just a financial mechanism. It is a mirror for something deeply human. Your ancestors survived by noticing immediate threats and immediate rewards. A predator in the grass. A ripe fruit on a branch. Right now mattered infinitely more than someday, because someday rarely came. That instinct still runs quietly in the background of your mind, whispering that the present deserves your attention and the future can wait. But the world changed faster than your brain did. You now live in a system that rewards small, boring, repeated decisions made today, on a timescale your ancestors never had to plan for. Compound growth asks you to override an instinct built for immediate survival, and trust a curve you cannot yet see. That is the real reason so few people become millionaires through compounding, even though the mathematics is available to almost everyone. It was never a math problem. It has always been a psychology problem, a fight between a brain built for scarcity and a system that rewards patience over decades. So look at your bank app one more time. The number still hasn't moved much. It might not move much next month either. But somewhere inside it, if you let it sit, is the same quiet doubling that once turned a single grain of rice into a mountain, and turned one man's small, patient gift into millions. The number is not stuck. It is only waiting for you to stop expecting a straight line.